Hello again, welcome to part 2 of our video on solving and factoring quadratics. Again, this is just a review. So this is part 2. If you haven't watched the first video on factoring, I'd advise you to watch that first. To start this video off, I took all the answers from the prior video about factoring and I just copied them down here. The difference again being that the first video we had all expressions and here we have equations, because expressions we can rewrite, but equations we can actually solve. So for the first step, I went ahead and factored each one of these equations, and then I'm going to apply what's called my zero product property, which means I'm going to set each one of the factors that I have equal to 0, because I know that 0 times anything is going to give me 0. So, like I said, 2x is equal to 0, and then x plus 3 is equal to 0. And then let's solve. If I solve this first equation over here for 0, I get that x is 0. If I solve this second one here, I get that x is negative 3. So there's two zeros, or two solutions to the problem here, x equals 0 and x equals negative 3. I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for each of these other problems for solving your quadratic. So again, step number 1 was to factor. Step number 2, your zero product property. Set each factor equal to 0. And then solve. So x equals negative 15 and x can equal 4. Again, two solutions to that quadratic. Example 3 was our example of our factoring technique where a was greater than 1, so we split the middle term. Again, set each one of these factors equal to 0 and solve. So I get that x is equal to 5 and x is equal to negative 1/2. And the last example was our difference of squares. If I set each one of these factors equal to 0 and solve, I get that x is going to be equal to 6 and x is going to be equal to negative 6. So in each one of these 4 examples, we see that we have two different solutions. You won't always have two solutions. It is possible to just have one. So something to keep in mind as you go through solving each one of these problems. Thank you again for watching.